Hi, and welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is part 3 of what will I make with this Embroidered Elegance 2.5-inch strip pack. So this is the block that we're working on. That was my test block, and here's my stack of all my blocks to start sewing. So I have all these rows pinned together. And then those rows here, I have a pin holding them all together for one block. So I'm just going to start sewing these all down. So I'm going to take my first set, which this is a block. I'm going to put that pin up there so I know it's that first square. And I'm going to start sewing these down one column at a time. And then once I sew all 4 of these, I'm just going to go ahead to the next block and sew it. So I'm going to have one really big long chain, and then I'll move over to do the second seam all the way down. So these are all going to be pieced together in a web. All right, I'm going to speed things up. So I have all of those sewn down, those columns sewn, so I just need to start pressing them, and then I can pin these together to finish up all the individual blocks. But I need to press, so I'm going to start pressing in alternating directions. So I'm just going to press all of this block to the side this way, and then I'll press the next row the other way. And I'll do that all the way down. And again, I do leave those threads together for all of those blocks. But once I start pinning those individual blocks, then I will cut them into the 4s for the blocks, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue doing a bunch of pressing. Okay, so I have all these pressed and stacked up. So I need to start pinning them, each block, and I'm going to cut this part because this is where my block ends. So I've got 4 rows here for each block, and then I'm just going to start pinning these together and stacking them up. So I've got all 9 blocks pinned over here at the sewing machine, so I'm just going to run them through and finish sewing them. And then after I sew them, I can start putting them into the rows. All 9 blocks, so I'll have 3 rows of 3. Okay, so I have all 9 of these blocks sewn together. So now I just need to do some pressing. And then I'll show you all 9 of the blocks. Okay, so I have all of my blocks sewn, pressed, so I thought I'd show you what they look like before I start sewing them into a quilt. So this is number 1, block 1, 2, 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now I'm just going to start pinning them in 3 different rows. So I'm going to do 3 rows of 3. So I have my 3 rows of 3 for those quilt blocks pinned together, ready to sew to the quilt top. And now I'm going to take these leftover strips from when I first started. Since I have all those blocks sewn together and I know I cut enough, I'm going to take the rest of these strip sets and just cut them in 2-inch increments, because this is going to be used for a border. I'm just going to come over here, set these aside, and work all the way down that pile. Get these all cut up. Okay, so I cut all of those into 2-inch strips to make a border. So I went ahead and I start pinning these strips together 2 by 2, and then next time I sew I'll end up being 4x4. Well, actually, it's more than that because there's 4 pieces in each. I'm not exactly sure how many strips of these I will need because the quilt isn't done, so I'm not exactly sure how far. But I can start pinning those and getting those sewn together in the process. So I'm just going to continue to pin these together. Okay, so I have all of my blocks pinned together in rows. 3 rows, 3 blocks in each row, and I have this scrappy border starting to pin together. To go to the sewing machine, I can sew this next time I go to the sewing machine. But I think it's a good place to stop for tonight. Okay, till next time. Bye!